Well, it's eventually conference championship week, and I'm going to give you my predictions on who all I think is going to win their conference, and I'm also going to give you my playoff rankings and what I believe they will be come the final rankings they put out. So you start off Friday at 7 o'clock with UNLV and Boise State. Now, these two teams actually end up facing earlier this season. In UNLV and Boise State pulled it off by winning by a touchdown. I'm going to go with UNLV to win this. Not really shitty on Boise State here. I just think UNLV is going to find a way to pull through and win this game. I could see Boise State winning this game, but I'm just going to go with UNLV. Boise State has had a few matchups where I felt a little concerned about them, but I would not be shocked if Boise State were to win this. But I'm going to go with UNLV to win the Mountain West Conference Championship game. And then Saturday at 11 o'clock, Iowa State and Arizona State face for the Big 12 championship. I'm going to go with Arizona State. Arizona State right now is reminding me of a South Carolina version 2. They both have been hot recently. They've been playing pretty good football. They've had several good wins throughout these several weeks. The only difference is South Carolina has 3 losses, whereas Arizona State don't. But they're both playing good football here. And I just don't see how Arizona State loses this game. I think they're the better team. I think they're going to show it. So I'm going to go with Arizona State to win this. And then at 3 o'clock, you got a rematch between Georgia and Texas. Of course, Georgia went into Austin earlier this season. I believe it was 30-15, if I'm not mistaken. Texas is favored by 2.5. I don't think this has anything to do with based off of what the game earlier this season, like how it ended. But I'm going with Georgia to win this. There's going to be people criticizing Georgia about 8 overtime win against Georgia Tech, how they look sloppy against Ole Miss weeks ago and all that. I just trust Georgia right now in this position. I believe Kirby's going to have us ready against Texas. I'm going with Georgia. I wouldn't be shocked if Texas won, but either way, I think the loser is still in. Because I think if Georgia loses, they still have a good resume enough to be in. I don't know how far they drop if they do lose. I don't know if they still get a home playoff game, if they go away. I don't know how that'll work, but I think whether Georgia loses or wins, they're in. Same thing with Texas. If they win, they're obviously in. If they lose, I still think they're in. And then you got 2 games on at 7 o'clock. You have Clemson and SMU and Penn State and Oregon. We'll start with the Big Ten. Penn State and Oregon. Oregon, I'm going with Oregon. It's just, could I see Penn State winning this game? Yes, I could see Penn State winning this game. But it is so hard to trust Penn State and James Franklin. I can't tell you how many times they've had chances against Michigan. They've had chances against Ohio State or any other top 10 teams within these past years. They just never can seem to get over that hump. So I'm sticking with probably the safest bet, which is Oregon. I think this could potentially be a very, very low-scoring game. It also could be a high-scoring game. I don't know. It really depends on how Drew Aller and that offense plays. I trust Penn State's defense. It's their offense I am a little concerned about, if you want to say. Because if you watch them against Ohio State, it was clearly obvious that their offense couldn't do anything. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going with Oregon to win. And then the last game, Clemson, SMU. Now this one's a little interesting. I'm picking SMU to win, but I'm curious to see what happens if Clemson wins. Does the ACC get 2 in? Do they get 1 in? Because here's a scenario for you. What if Clemson wins? What happens to SMU? Do they still stay in the rankings and drop down to 9, 10, 11? Or what happens? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sure nobody knows what's going to happen. But I'm going with SMU. But that'll be interesting to see if Clemson beats SMU. And now, so my playoff rankings is, here's how it's going. I would put Oregon at number 1 because they'd be the undefeated team and they would have won their conference. So I'd put them at number 1. I'd put Georgia at 2 because they won the SC. 3, SMU. 4, Arizona State. And then I would have UNLV as the 5th highest ranked conference champion at the 12th seed. And then from 5 and all the way down, 5, I could see these two being flip-flopped, but right now I got 5 Notre Dame, 6 Penn State. I don't see how any other team is in those spots besides those two. Nobody, in my opinion, deserves to be 5 or 6 besides Notre Dame and Penn State. Those two could easily be flip-flopped. I wouldn't be shocked if they were. 7, I have Texas. I don't think if they lost Georgia, they would be penalized too much. I don't think they would drop that much either. I'm not the committee, though. The committee is known for doing weird shit. So, well, hell if I know. 8, I have Tennessee. I just don't see how Tennessee... I feel like that's probably the best spot for them. I can't really think of another spot really to put them at. Maybe 9, but I don't see that. I see 8 for Tennessee. And then 9 and 10, I had a little tough decision to make. But 9, I put Ohio State. 10, I put Indiana. I could see there being a scenario where they're thinking about putting Indiana there. But if they put Indiana there, where would Ohio State be? Because obviously the committee values head-to-head. So you can't put Ohio State behind Indiana. So that's why I put them at 9, Indiana at 10, because I feel like there could be a talk about where both those teams should be, and I feel like Ohio State would have to be ranked above them because of head-to-head. So I put Ohio State at 9, Indiana at 10. 11, there's 3 teams that I could see in there, but sadly I think it's only going to be a discussion between 2 of the 3. That would be Miami, Bama, and South Carolina. Obviously, the team that I don't think will get any talk about it, unfortunately, even though I think they should, because they've been playing well, similar to Arizona State, and that's South Carolina. I feel like South Carolina right now is one of the 12 best teams because they've been playing. They're probably the team that has been playing just as consistent as some of these other top 12 teams. I feel like they should get some consideration, but I don't think they will talk about them, unfortunately. So I think it'll come down to a Miami or Bama. Now, like I said earlier, what if Clemson wins? Do you knock SMU out, or do they join that conversation? So I could see the 11 spot being considered for 4 teams, really. But like I said, South Carolina, I don't think will get any consideration. So I think there's 3 teams that are capable of being there. And that's Miami, Bama, and SMU. Now, I picked SMU to win, so obviously now I got to shorten it down to Miami and Bama. I think they'll probably pick Bama because Miami don't really have a good win. Whereas Bama has at least, Georgia, South Carolina, and I think they have another good win. I'm trying to remember who all they faced, but they at least have those 2 good wins. And Miami they just don't really have that many good wins. So that's why I put Bama there. And then, like I said, of course, UNLV would beat number 12 because they'd be the 5th highest ranked conference champion. As far as my picks, I feel pretty good about them. There may be one conference championship prediction that I feel like I'm a little 50-50 about, but overall, I'm pretty confident about my conference championship picks and my playoff rankings. Like I said, I could see Penn State and Notre Dame flip-flopping 5 and 6. I could see Indiana at 9. There's just so many. There's so many teams that I don't know where exactly they fit in, but I'm trying to put them in the best spots that I think they should be in or could be in, and these are the best rankings I could come up with. Obviously, like I said, I ain't no committee. They're going to do some of the weirdest shit, and yet it'll work it out itself, I guess. Because the committee is known for doing some weird shit. They've done it in the past. I don't see them stopping now. But that is my playoff rankings, and those are my conference champion picks. So let me down in the comment section. Let me know how much of a dipshit I am. Have a good morning.